Now everybody and their mother is posting about the Nintendo Switch 2, but this is not what that is. I'm in fact all the way out here in California, mainly because 4 big things are going on: the SoCal Gaming Expo, Summer Games Fest, Xbox Showcase, and IGN Live.
Hey, what's up? I'm here at IGN Live, taking a look at stuff, seeing what's going on. Brand new event, so yeah, we'll see what's happening. Cool.
So for this particular event, I was press, so I went in a little bit early, and that's why this hall is empty. But no worries, it filled up really quick. This event is mainly for people that really like IGN and people that are looking for previews of games and hardware and all sorts of things that are coming out in the near future. For me, what I find interesting is all these events are kind of filling a hole that is left by E3 no longer existing. Now, E3 was pretty much an industry event. That means like you had to work in video games to be there. These other events exist in a spectrum of corporate event to fan event. At the end of the day, corporate sponsors are part of what's necessary to help fund some of this. So I don't hate on, corporate sponsors for being here. If anything, it's like, oh, cool, I get a free candy bar and I get to, see the video games I want to see at a higher production quality. Neat. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the Playdate. They had a little booth here for the Playdate. I didn't actually see anybody here because if I would have, I definitely would have talked to them. I love the Playdate. My actual first video that ever went viral was a video about the Playdate. Simply put, this is a black and white handheld with a crank. It's a lot of fun. It's made by Teenage Engineering, and a lot of the games are super indie and very interesting. 2K had a booth which mostly had wrestling and golf, but it's neat because I got to interview Roman Reigns.
Here I am today with Mr. Roman Reigns. Mr. Roman Reigns, what do you have to say?
I actually thought the Lenovo Legion booth was pretty darn cool. They showcased a lot of hardware.
I'm out here sitting in the Lenovo Legion booth. This booth is all about conquering bosses of any type. It's giving me Titanfall 2, but, if you look around, there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on that is also pretty cool.
Now, right here are the Legion Go S's. One is a Legion Go S with Windows, and one is a Legion Go S with SteamOS on it. Now, the Rogue Xbox Ally is going to be the first handheld console with the kind of streamlined Windows 11 experience that allows for less bloat for these handheld consoles. However, that same operating system will be available on this handheld as well, but just this will be the second handheld to have that operating system. Now, I really like SteamOS and I like my Steam Deck, but I was just curious if this could dual boot in that Windows OS as well as SteamOS, and they told me that shouldn't be a problem. There's going to be more detail coming out on this handheld as it gets closer to production, but I believe what they told me was that this would be available sometime around the beginning of September, really leading into winter 2025, just in time for the holidays. Now, from a first impression standpoint, I really loved the ergonomics of this handheld. It just felt really good in the hand, which is very important, especially for any handheld. The other thing that really impressed me was the screen. It was beautiful. What's going to be the make or break for this is pricing, battery life, etc. But at the end of the day, for a first preview handheld standpoint, this is pretty nice. They also had a different model on hand, which was the first generation with the removable controllers, which is always kind of neat. But at the end of the day, I think they might be giving this one a refresh as well, if you're into the whole having like 2 controllers, kind of like a Switch sort of thing. It's actually kind of funny. They've been using Kevin from The Office to advertise this thing. So if you've seen an ad with Kevin from The Office playing video games, this is that handheld. And you know what? To be completely fair, this is pretty darn nice. It's very comfortable in the hand, and I'm really excited to see it when it comes out. At the end of the day, I really like that there's more competition in this handheld gaming market. That just means they're going to be pushing for power and different SKUs that end up being suited towards very specific needs. These are really neat, and I hope they take off and do pretty well. Now, if you're at all interested in going to IGN Live, one thing that's kind of cool is if you are super early in, you can get very close to the front, and they were giving away a ton of prizes. So if you're like the type of person that likes to win prizes, there were a ton given away. I walked on over to the Genki booth. Genki is a company that makes accessories for different consoles. They had a whole bunch of stuff here for the Switch 2, ranging from different hard cases to different regular cases that you can put your Switch into. I also have seen this particular controller online a couple of times. It's the type of controller that keeps ending up in my cart, but I haven't purchased yet. But I really like it because it's a collaboration between Genki and 8BitDo. 8BitDo makes great third-party controllers, and I love that this is an homage to a Super Nintendo controller with a little bit of extras. I have a different version of this, but I really like this particular design. It's kind of neat. They were handing out little cat butt things at the cat butt slapping game booth. And they had a bunch of new and modern pinball games, if you're into pinball games, which, you know, everybody is. Now, there was one panel that I was particularly excited about, the Clair Obscur Expedition 33 panel. I've been playing this game, and I'm almost done with it, but I'm doing, like, all of the side missions and stuff. But anyways, this game has been super duper good and came out of nowhere.
So I could never have expected this. We knew that it was a special game, we knew that people were really passionate about it, but I don't think anyone could have known that this would be the reception it's on. It's very exciting to be here.
The panel was very unserious. All of the actors came out in alternate costumes from the game, but I think the game has been very interesting. A little bit serious, a little bit silly, both at the same time, and I gotta say that I just really like the game. I was hoping for an announcement like more DLC, another game, a picture mode, anything, but at the end of the day, all they did was just kind of talk about their experiences in the game, which was still a lot of fun. It was more of a fan moment than a news moment, but if you're a fan of epic RPGs like Final Fantasy VII and that sort of thing, you should definitely check out this game. It does a good job of invoking that sort of feeling you got when you played those games. They also teased a documentary about the game, which is very interesting to me because I like behind the scenes stuff, but I have no idea when this is coming out or when it's going to be released. But when it does, I'll be checking it out. One thing that was a lot of fun is I got a little hands-on time with this game called PUBG Blindspot. Now, if you've played PUBG, this game is nothing like PUBG. This is a 5 versus 5 isometric top-down shooter. It's a lot of fun though. Basically, there's a red team and a blue team and a red zone and a blue zone, and then there's the middle. In the middle, you can see an iconic shape. Like as you can see here, I'm playing in this kind of cone area. That's what I can see. Now, my enemies can also see in cone areas, and if they can't see me, like they're not pointing at me, they can't see me. The last thing to note is there are red and blue zones. If I'm red and I'm in a blue zone, everybody can see me, and vice versa. Now, my first time around, I lost horribly because I didn't understand what I was doing. But the next time around, I picked a different class and I fared much better. This game reminds me of a mixture between Splatoon, Counter-Strike, and even Hotline Miami. They were demoing the deathmatch mode here, but eventually the demolition mode will pretty much be the main mode of this game. You can clearly play deathmatch still, but one of the modes that they are going to showcase and be promoting heavily will be that demolition mode. This is basically a multiplayer online only game. It will be available on PCs, and they're looking to start betaing this later this year. On the other side of the Lenovo Legion booth, they also had a small demo of the new Shinobi game that's coming out. It looks pretty cool. It's more of an animated style, and it reminds me a little bit of that Streets of Rage 4 game that came out recently. And in a second attempt at a joke, I ended up running into one of the most famous Pokemon out there.
Checking it out with the real star of the show, Charizard. Charizard, what do you got to say about this?
They had quite a few games here, and I ended up demoing some of the fighting games. I was really interested in this unique controller, and overall, I thought it was very interesting. Funny enough, the first time I ever played Street Fighter was on a computer, on DOS. So I'm actually very used to playing Street Fighter with keys that are kind of separate like this. The only thing that was a little bit weird was that the up jump was on the thumb button, but that makes sense, I guess, because you usually jump with your spacebar, but it was just kind of throwing me off. IGN Fest ended up being a pretty good time. There were a couple of things I did here while I was out here in LA, but it was really nice to go here and kind of pad out that experience. In a world where E3 doesn't exist, there isn't much of a fan experience that you can go to and celebrate modern gaming. Now, I was never able to go to an E3, but the production value of this thing kind of made me feel like, hey, this is sort of kind of what it might have been like a little bit. Now, the one thing I would have liked more of is a couple of announcements, but I kind of understand that most of the big gaming announcements end up going through Summer Games Fest, because that's more of an industry event and this is more of like a fan event. That being said, it's still worth going to, and if you're in the area next year, you should definitely think about going. Thank you so much for watching this. I've got a couple more LA videos coming out, but I hope you enjoyed this and what I've got cooking up.